Su Zhu travels through the world of gods and becomes a 5-tone bamboo that accompanies Haotian. Coincidentally, Haotian returned from his past tribulations and was granted the title of Tianting Miaoyin Zhenjun due to his relationship with Haotian. Afterwards, Zhunei practiced the 5 elements, transformed Yin and Yang, and returned to chaos. Practice the art of external music, control the mind, and become a god of music. He travels through the world, collects 9-tailed foxes as mounts, and searches for Yingzhou Immortal Island in the East China Sea step by step towards the path of strength. China Fairy. I have created a new dance called Nishang Yuyi Dance. Can the god of music compose a song for me? Yao Ji. I am in charge of the realm of desire, but unexpectedly, I am infected by desire. I wonder if God of music can help me resolve the poison of desire. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Innate Spiritual Root 5-Tone Bamboo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Unexpectedly, I, Su Zhu, have crossed over and become a spiritual bamboo. In Haotian Dao Chang, a spiritual bamboo sways in the wind, and faint notes emerge around it, becoming a beautiful piece of music. This spiritual bamboo is a top-grade innate spiritual root called the 5-tone bamboo, which is born together with Haotian. You have traveled to a world of chaos and received the attention of the Great Road. You have gained an incredible understanding and excellent fortune. In Su Zhu's mind, a mysterious voice rang out. Immediately after, Su Zhu became ethereal and his consciousness became much purer, and his comprehension increased exponentially at this moment. Su Zhu was an ordinary person in his past life. Today, there is only a top-grade innate spiritual root. His intelligence was originally incomparable to the top beings in the world of the wilderness, but now that he has been blessed by the Great Way, Su Zhu's intelligence is far superior to that of the innate demon gods. The top priority is to transform into form as soon as possible, but sharpening the knife won't miss the skill of chopping firewood. It's better to first sort out one's own techniques. As a top-quality innate spiritual root, Su Zhu gave birth to spiritual intelligence and naturally extended his divine power technique. However, these magical powers and techniques are not complete, extremely fragmented, and not systematic. If it were Su Zhu from before, it would require hundreds or even thousands of years of effort to deduce and perfect it. However, now Su Zhu has received great blessings and possesses the ability to defy the heavens. Over the years, Su Zhu had already perfected it. At this moment, his techniques can be simply divided into 2 categories. One is the wood-type divine skill, which can be used to cultivate with the help of the wood chi of heaven and earth, to induce the wood chi of heaven and earth to attack enemies. Su Zhu named him the Green Emperor Wood Emperor Gong. Another is the application of the 5 tones, which Su Zhu named Miaoyin Tian Gong. With his improved techniques, Su Zhu's cultivation has been much faster than before. In the blink of an eye, another 100 years had passed. Suddenly, Su Zhu stopped. He furrowed his brow and faced his first choice in life. That is the problem of choosing the form. As a spiritual root, Su Zhu's transformation choices have 2 directions. The first is to continue practicing and directly transform his own body. With his high-quality innate spiritual root bones, he can achieve almost complete success in the future. But success is also a spiritual root, defeat is also a spiritual root. The Luo is probably his limit. The other is to take off form, detach from the body of the spiritual bamboo, and allow the spiritual energy of the spiritual roots to condense into a human body. The advantage of this is that the root bone may not be as good as the former, but there will be more possibilities in the future. And if he wants to, he can even transform now. Since I have traveled here, how can I limit myself to the realm of Dalai Lama when I seek enlightenment? Su Zhu didn't hesitate too much and chose the second approach directly. Su Su the emerald bamboo sways, emitting a green and mystical light all over its body. These mystical lights converge and slowly transform into the human body. Boom! Dark clouds gathered one after another, thunder and lightning roared, and a thick thunderbolt fell towards Su Zhu. This is Su Zhu's transformation of thunder calamity. However, the thunderous roar only shook Su Zhu's body, and with a flash of spiritual light, he returned to his original state. The calamity of mere transformation also wants to harm me. Su Zhu's eyebrows couldn't help but lift, his face showing disdain. Subsequently, he reached out and activated the Miaoyin heavenly skill, transforming the spiritual bamboo behind him into an immortal flute. His essence is a top-grade innate spiritual root, with a position equivalent to a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. Therefore, this immortal flute also reaches the level of a top-grade innate spiritual treasure. Su Zhu could have urged Xian Di to fight against Lei Jia, but he did not do so. Instead, he chose to absorb the power of transforming Lei Jia with his body. At the same time, in a blessed place. Eyes cast here one after another. There are a total of 10 people here, 1 man and 10 women. I didn't expect to see my companion's spiritual roots take shape when I returned from all my hardships. Haotian laughed heartily. After the battle of the Lich demons, Daozu reincarnated Haotian in order to allow him to take control of the heavenly court. And the Taoist couple Yao Ji was also accompanied by his own body reincarnation. In this life, Haotian finally succeeded and is about to take office, becoming the supreme ruler of the 3 realms. On a whim, he went back to his own dojo to take a look, but unexpectedly it happened to be Su Zhuhua's transformation. Take a good look at that big brother. A little girl in a purple dress opened her mouth with a smile on her face. When you grow up, become a father and betroth you to him. Haotian rubbed the head of the little girl in purple clothes, looking indulgent. In his last life, he had a younger sister named Yao Ji. He first gave birth to a daughter named Long Ji. Unexpectedly, Yao Ji's good corpse was shot again, and it was still a child with 7 treasures. He had a successful journey and decided to bring all his sister and daughter back to the heavenly court. I want it too. Huang Er, dressed in a yellow dress, spoke up. Okay, if you really like it, I'll betroth you both to her. Haotian's journey was successful, and he was in a good mood. He couldn't help but laugh and joke. Looking at Su Zhu, his gaze was full of appreciation, giving up the top-quality innate spiritual roots and feet. Such courage shocked even him. Chapter 2. Haotian Family. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Boom. A series of transformed thunder tribulations fell. A tingling sensation flowed throughout Su Zhu's body, as if giving him a massage. And the energy of the transformation thunder calamity was also absorbed by Su Zhu, and his body became more solid. The transformation was completed, and Su Zhu was covered in a green shirt, exuding a noble and elegant aura all around. It's also time to leave. Su Zhu looked at this world and was ready to leave. However, at this moment, a figure flew here in silence. The person dressed in splendid attire exudes a regal aura. Haotian. Su Zhu looked calm and recognized the other person's identity. In the end, Su Zhu slowly stepped forward, arched his hand, and said calmly, Su Zhu has met Haotian Daoyu. Taoist friend. Haotian couldn't help but be surprised. He didn't expect Su Zhu to call him a Taoist friend. He is now a quasi-saint with great supernatural powers, while Su Zhu is just a mysterious immortal. Friendly Dao, friendly Dao. After a moment, Haotian nodded and a hint of appreciation appeared in his divine eyes. If Su Zhu grovels, then his future achievements will inevitably not be significant. Su Zhu, we were born together in the past. If you wish, we will be called brothers. Upon hearing the words, Su Zhu's eyes sparkled. This Haotian future is the heavenly emperor, the lord of the 3 realms. Even if it's a puppet, it's still the heavenly emperor. Standing behind him is the ancestor Hongjun. The sage did not throw away Haotian cigarettes, but instead came directly to Fengshan Liangjie. The interception of the 10,000 immortals coming to the court directly became the past tense. I've met Big Brother. Su Zhu arched his hand. My dear brother, now that I have completed all my tribulations, I will go to the heavenly court to serve as the heavenly emperor. Would you be willing to accompany me to the heavenly court? Haotian offers an invitation. Upon hearing this, Su Zhu's eyes sparkled and he determined the current moment. Going to the heavenly court, Su Zhu readily agreed without hesitation. The next measure of calamity is the divine measure of calamity. Fengshan Liangjie, as the name suggests, is to bestow blessings on the heavenly court. Entering the heavenly court early to become an immortal official is also a good choice. Haotian saw Su Zhu agree. Immediately pulled Su Zhu to meet his wife and daughters. Yao Ji, it goes without saying that the younger sister of the Queen Mother of the West was also called the Golden Mother of Yao Ji, which later became the Queen Mother. Yao Ji, on the other hand, is the younger sister of Haotian, the future mother of Yang Jian, San Xingmu, and others. Princess Longji also shone brightly in the Battle of Fengshan, but unfortunately she later married Hong Jin and made it to the list of Fengshan. The last 7 fairies are also quite famous in later generations. After getting to know each other, Honger and others surrounded Su Zhu, their delicate little faces full of joy. Uncle was long and uncle was short, shouting non-stop. For a moment, facing these chattering little lollies, Su Zhu also found it difficult to resist. After staying at the dojo for a few days, Haotian and others headed towards the heavenly court. After the Wu Yao Yangjia, although there were 5 heavenly emperors, namely Fuxi, Shenong, Xuanyuan, Zhuanshu, and Shaohao, who successively took over the heavenly court, the management was ultimately the management, and the development of the heavenly court was not very good. As for the few elites among them, they were taken to Huiyun Cave by the heavenly emperor of the 5 directions. Nowadays, the heavenly court can be described as flourishing with all kinds of waste. After arriving at the heavenly court, Haotian allocated a training ground for Su Zhu and others. Su Zhu also obtained a first-class immortal mansion and named it Miaoyin Zhenjun. As for the position, he was conferred the title of Miaoyin Zhenjun, also known as the god of music. My dear brother, your strength is not yet strong, so it's not good to bestow too high a position on you. If you prove yourself in the realm of Dala in the future, I will assist you in ascending to the position of the 4 sovereigns. Haotian seemed worried that Su Zhu had a grudge in his heart and explained it to him. Thank you very much, big brother. Su Zhu smiled and thanked him. Nowadays, he is only in the realm of Xianxia, and his ability to obtain the fruit of a true ruler already depends on his relationship with Haotian. Otherwise, even if the heavenly court lacks people, it is impossible for a Xianxian to become a true ruler. After pondering for a moment, Su Zhu spoke up and said, Big brother, my strength is weak now and I cannot provide assistance for you. I plan to go to the earth to see if I can find opportunities and achieve the golden immortal realm as soon as possible. Young man, since you're going on a journey, I won't stop you. I have a few spiritual treasures here that can help me defend myself. Haotian waved his hand and immediately his divine light shone, revealing 2 treasures. A armor and a bead. This battle armor, named Xianling armor, is a top-notch acquired spiritual treasure. After wearing it, it can not only protect the physical body, but also protect the divine soul. When a wise brother wears this item, the golden immortal is difficult to harm. As for this bead, it is a top-grade innate spiritual treasure, named Xiantian Pearl, containing a small world. Once worshipped, its power is infinite. Haotian handed 2 treasures to Su Zhu and Ling Bao. Even the innate spiritual treasure, Su Zhu was somewhat overjoyed. Just as Su Zhu was about to express his gratitude, Haotian took out another peach and a gourd. This is what Yao Ji asked me to give to you. The gourd contains the essence of Yao Ji's holy water, which can help you cultivate As for this peach, it is a ren shui peach that blooms and bears fruit in 30,000 years, and only matures after another 30,000 years. Su Zhu was slightly taken aback at the words. Isn't the highest year of a peach 9,000 years old? How did it become 90,000 years ago? Chapter 3. Journey to the Lower Boundaries. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a fairy palace. Haotian and Yao Ji sat opposite each other. Your Majesty, I didn't expect you to value Su Zhu so much. Yao Ji's beautiful appearance was somewhat unexpected. Back then, I was just a chaotic rock, while Su Zhu was a 5-tone bamboo. I was once blessed by him, but now that he has transformed into a cultivator, I naturally need to help him. Moreover, his extraordinary nature makes his future achievements limitless. Perhaps in the future, he will still be a great help to my heavenly court. Back then, he was born with Su Zhu. Su Zhu performed in the innate 5-tone formation, protecting the two of them. It was only after endless years that he gave birth to spiritual intelligence, transformed into form, and was then favored by Hongjun ancestor and adopted as a child. Nowadays, everything in the sky is thriving. What do you plan to do? Yao Ji nodded and did not dwell on this matter, but asked Haotian about his plans for the future. All the immortals in the world want to be carefree, and with the help of various holy sects' efforts to recruit disciples, it may be difficult for our heavenly court to recruit talented individuals. Haotian frowned tightly. In the war between witches and demons, countless cultivators were killed or injured in the wilderness. After that, the human race flourished, and Xuanyuan Yellow Emperor conquered the world. The leader of the intercepted heaven sect was both knowledgeable and indiscriminate, recruiting disciples. There are not many advanced casual cultivators in the world, and his heavenly court cannot produce anything attractive. After a pause, Haotian spoke up and said, I found a golden crow corpse on the sun star. Perhaps I can use its essence and blood to transform it into a golden crow warrior to solve the urgent situation. I have already entrusted my sister, Queen Mother of the West, to cultivate flat peaches. Over the years, she has cultivated 1,200 flat peaches from 3,000, 6,000, and 9,000 years each. Although these flat peaches are not as good as the mother plant, they are extremely extraordinary and in large quantities. They may become the foundation for my heavenly court to attract immortals. Yao Ji nodded and spoke again. Yao Ji is also known as the Golden Mother of Yao Ji, while her sister, Queen Mother of the West, is known as the Holy Mother of Yao Ji. Back then, Emperor Tai wanted to kill the Queen Mother of the West, but fortunately, with the help of the Hongjun boy from Yao Ji, he survived. Miaoyin Mountain. Su Zhupan sat in the training cave. In front of him, there is a treasure armor and beads suspended. Jia is the Xianling armor, which has now been completed through sacrificial training. With a thought, the Xianling armor transformed into a ray of light and penetrated his body. Next, with just a thought, this armor can instantly manifest as a protective light shield, protecting his body. As for the Shantian Pearl, Su Zhu now only refines 6 innate prohibitions. High-quality innate spiritual treasure, only by entering the Tai level can it be thoroughly refined. However, even if it is only refining the 6 prohibitions, it is still powerful. The next path for me is to cultivate the path of wood, and then use wood as a springboard to cultivate other 5 elements, leading to the formation of the 5 elements avenue, and even the reversal of the 5 elements from yin and yang to chaos. The other path is to follow the path of melody. Su Zhu's eyes sparkled, and the first path was obviously much more powerful. Of course, achieving something was even more difficult. Children only make choices, adults naturally want everything. This hesitation only lasted for a moment before Su Zhu made a decision. The two are not in opposition, but complement each other. The former focuses more on the material world, while the latter focuses more on the spiritual world. Collecting the Shantian Pearl, Su Zhu headed towards the earth boundary. The way of melody is not only related to nature, but also to the joys, sorrows, and joys of living beings. If a musician only concerns nature, perhaps he can also become everyone, but ultimately limited to a small corner. Without a comprehensive understanding of music, true music should encompass all aspects. After arriving at the boundary, Su Zhu traveled all the way to the human settlement. He came to the human race for two purposes. One is to observe the human race and understand their 7 emotions and 6 desires. After all, humans are the spirit of all things, and their emotions are the most abundant. The way of music is to use sound to stimulate the emotions of sentient beings. To mobilize various emotions, one naturally needs to understand them. As for the other purpose, it is to promote the application of music in the human race. In a blink of an eye, decades of hard work passed. Over the years, Su Zhu has been walking in various tribes of the human race, spreading the instruments and rituals used in weddings and funerals, using music to enlighten those in difficulties, guiding them out of difficulties, and even using music to match people in love, treating people's mental illnesses, and so on. In order to facilitate the performance of the human race, he also added 2 strings to the 5-string qin made by Fuxi and changed it to a 7-string qin. And because of this, Su Zhu gained the title of God of Music among the human race. During this time, Su Zhu also visited various ancient battlefields and experienced the atmosphere of war. On this day, Su Zhu unknowingly arrived near Chaoga city. The current Chaoga is the stronghold of the Yingzhou tribe. Of course, currently in the Xia dynasty, the Yingzhou had not yet been co-ruled by the human race. Suddenly, Su Zhu let out a startled sound, as he was surprised to find something related to him, as if guiding him towards a certain direction. Following this guide, Su Zhu arrived somewhere outside Chaoga city. Xuanyuan tomb. Is there something related to me in Xuanyuan tomb? Su Zhu's eyes showed a hint of surprise. Chapter 4. Collecting the 3 demons of Xuanyuan tomb. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Xuanyuan tomb was extremely famous in Su Zhu's past life. However, the reason why it is famous is not only because it is the tomb of Xuanyuan, but also because it is the 3 demons of Xuanyuan's tomb. These 3 demons are the 9-tailed fox, the jade pipa spirit, and the 9-pheasant chicken spirit. Jade and stone pipa spirit, is it that this jade and stone pipa spirit has a connection with me? My mind twitched. Su Zhu took out the immortal flute and started playing. And as he played, the sound of the flute carried the woody aura into the Xuanyuan tomb. Hu Xianer/Yuqing/Feng Qingqing has met the immortal. After a moment, the 3 stunning beauties came to Su Zhu and kowtowed to pay their respects. The person in the middle, dressed in a snow-white dress with a stunning face, exudes a seductive charm amidst her unparalleled fairy-like demeanor, and her 9 furry tails move behind her. The person on the left is wearing a pink dress, with a slender waist and a light posture, as if without weight. The person on the right is dressed in a blue dress, with a jade-like beauty on their skin. It's not an exaggeration to say that they are a jade person. Without a doubt, these 3 people are the 3 demons of Xuanyuan tomb. Among the 3, Hu Xianer barely reached the level of heavenly immortal, while the other 2 were earth immortals. They couldn't help but look flustered in front of Su Zhu, their backs shivering. Su Zhu's gaze swept over the 3 of them, eventually falling on the jade and pipa spirit. I am the heavenly court's wonderful sound true lord, Jade Chime. Follow me to practice in the future. Su Zhu's tone is plain, but due to his cultivation of the Qingdi Muhuang Gong, his gentle tone carries a strong imperial power that is irresistible. Upon hearing this, all 3 demons couldn't help but feel their hearts and minds flutter. Thank you very much for taking me in. Yuqing quickly kowtowed and expressed gratitude. Zhenjun, please accept us too. Our 3 sisters have never been separated in these years. Hu Xianer and Feng Qingqing quickly pleaded, they didn't want to miss this opportunity. Upon hearing this, Su Zhu's gaze flickered between the 2 women, as if pondering something. Lord Zhenjun, you must be the widely circulated god of music among the human race. I am willing to be Zhenjun's mount and help him walk through the world. As the words fell, Wuxia transformed into a fox the size of a horse, with 9 tails swaying behind the fox. The fox is white overall, but its ears and tail are pink. It looks quite pleasing to the eye. Not bad. Su Zhu nodded and said, you can temporarily mount for me. Zhenjun, I have something to give as a gift. The 9-headed pheasant chicken spirit phoenix Qingqing gritted her teeth. She was actually a 9-headed pheasant bird and could also be used as a mount, even faster than the 9-tailed fox. Unfortunately, the 9-tailed fox had already taken the lead. What is it? If it's useful to me, I can keep you by my side. Su Zhu squinted his eyes. The 3 demons of Xuanyuan tomb have already collected 2, and the remaining 1 cannot be let go. This item is inside the Xuanyuan tomb. Please enter the cave and rest for a while. I will go and fetch it for you now. Su Zhu nodded at the words. Enter the Xuanyuan tomb together with the 3 demons. Not long after the 3 demons came to Xuanyuan tomb, the current Xuanyuan tomb does not seem to have many fox sons and descendants like it did when the gods were in theft. Entering, several people led Su Zhu to sit down in a stone hall. After a moment, serve the spirit fruit and wine. Jade chimes play pipa music. Wuxia is dancing gracefully. Jade chimes are the essence of jade and stone pipa, naturally possessing considerable expertise in melody, and Wuxia is a 9-tailed heavenly fox, with her figure and appearance displayed there, and she looks good at anything she jumps. Yuqing, show me your true form. After a single song, Su Zhu's ethereal voice rang out. Upon hearing this, the jade chime immediately transformed into a jade pipa and flew to Su Zhu's hand. Su Zhu held the pipa in his hand, and a jade-like warmth came over. Although the jade and pipa spirit is a fairy, Su Zhu did not feel any demonic aura on it. The only regret is that it is not the result of innate jade, but rather the result of postnatal jade life. Nowadays, there is no pipa as a musical instrument among humans. It is also a virtue to spread this instrument to the human race. Su Zhu walked all the way and did not find any trace of pipa among the human race. He even suspected that the jade pipa spirit might be the first pipa nurtured in heaven and earth. If the jade chime spreads the pipa to the human race, it also has many benefits for its cultivation. Thank you, Lord Zhenjun, for your guidance. Yuqing quickly spoke up. Don't call me Zhenjun, well, call me Gongzi. Su Zhu prefers the title of Gongzi. And upon hearing these words, the 2 demons all expressed their compliance. At this moment, Feng Qingqing walked over holding a piece of cloth and said, Young master, please take a look. This is a piece of cowhide. However, Su Zhu saw a sense of merit on it, and this cowhide became incredibly resilient due to merit. Su Zhu also saw a hint of killing and imperial aura on it. This object is closely related to Emperor Xuanyuan and belongs to him. After the tomb was erected, this object was also placed inside. The thing that Su Zhu felt was destined to be this one. Perhaps it can be used to make war drums. Su Zhu's eyes lit up slightly as he made plans. Chapter 5. Peach Spirit Willow Monster. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Drum is the first of the 8 tones. It plays a role in many occasions, such as sacrificial ceremonies, weddings, wars, and so on. This cowhide contains a killing aura, and if used to create war drums, it will have a great effect on boosting morale. Just having cowhide alone is not enough. Other materials are needed, and with meritorious cowhide, other materials cannot be perfunctory. Young master, you need the materials for making drums. I know there's a place that has them. Wuxia saw Su Zhumian with a thoughtful expression and approached, saying, There is a chessboard mountain hundreds of miles away from Chaoga city, and there is a Xuanyuan temple on the mountain. Near Xuanyuan temple, there is a peach tree and a willow tree. These two trees have been cultivated for thousands of years, and perhaps you can ask them for peach or willow wood to make a drum body. Xuanyuan Temple. I didn't expect Xuanyuan to be involved. A hint of inexplicability flashed in Su Zhu's eyes. Soon, 4 people left the Xuanyuan tomb. Hu Xian'er transformed into a 9-tailed fox. Su Zhu sat on top of the 9-tailed fox. Yuqing and Fengqing transformed into 2 beautiful maids, leading the way. Young master, do you need me to massage you? Hu Xian'er speaks from the mouth. After obtaining Su Zhu's consent, her tail immediately entwined with Su Zhu and gently rubbed around him. Not bad. After a moment, Su Zhu nodded in appreciation. Along the way, there is still such enjoyment. Taking the 9-tailed fox as a mount is indeed a good choice. Su Zhu and others are more like leisurely walks than rushing on the road. It took a whole half-day to travel hundreds of miles. At sunset, Su Zhu and others just arrived at Qipan Mountain. On the chessboard mountain, the spiritual energy is lush. Su Zhu's divine eyes lit up, and indeed he saw the Xuanyuan temple. On both sides of the temple, there are peach trees and willow trees. From the appearance, the 2 trees may not be too tall, but Su Zhu found that their roots and whiskers were scattered throughout most of the chessboard mountains, even extending into the Xuanyuan temple, connected to the statue of the ghost envoy in front of the Xuanyuan statue. These 2 ghost envoys are respectively called Shentu and Yulei. They are rich in the abilities of Qianli and Shunfeng Yi, and have assisted Xuanyuan Huangdi. In front of the statue of Xuanyuan, there are also statues of these 2 ghost envoys. And Peach Spirit and Willow Spirit, respectively called Roots and Beads, extend under the 2 statues, obtaining the spiritual energy of the 2 statues, and surprisingly giving birth to the divine powers of Thousand Mile Eye and Shunfeng Yi. Soon, Su Zhu shook his head. The 2 of them used the fragrance and fire of the ghost envoy to cultivate their spiritual energy, and even the rare divine wood was not suitable as a war drum material. Su Zhu's wooden qi dissipated around his body and transformed into 2 streams of energy, attacking Peach Spirit and Willow Monster separately. The next moment, a burst of immortal light shook. 2 figures flew out. These 2 people have a fierce appearance, with a face like indigo, eyes like golden lamps, huge fangs, and a majestic body, a face resembling melon skin, a mouth like a blood bowl, teeth like a short sword, hair like cinnabar, topped with 2 horns. It is very strange. The reason why the 2 of them looked like this was due to the influence of the 2 ghost envoys. Who is your excellency and why are you disturbing us? Gao Ming looked at Su Zhu and others with a wary expression. My young master is Tianting Miaoyin Zhenjun. Why don't you 2 come and pay your respects quickly? Feng Qingqing spoke loudly. The 2 of them glanced at each other, hesitated for a moment, and then came to Su Zhu. They bowed and said, I've seen Zhenjun. Are you 2 equipped with the powers of Thousand Mile Eye and Following Wind Ear, willing to serve the heavenly court? Although Taolu and Ermu cannot be used as materials for the war drum, after all, they have come, and Su Zhu doesn't mind recommending the 2 to the heavenly court. Although they are monsters, they have obtained divine tea and Yulei spiritual energy, and can be considered disciples of the 2 ghost envoys. Although it looks a bit ugly, its roots are still sprouting red. Of course, if the 2 are unwilling, Su Zhu doesn't mind either. Upon hearing that they could go to the heavenly court, the 2 of them couldn't help but become excited, but soon their expressions dimmed. Zhenjun is not aware that the 2 of us have taken the path of transformation, but the divine powers of Thousand Mile Eye and Following Wind Ear can only be exerted by communicating with the 2 ghost envoys through our own bodies. If we want to leave, we may still need the consent of the 2 ghost envoys. Being able to become immortals in the heavenly court is something they naturally crave. But if they don't get the consent of the 2nd ghost envoy, they won't be able to use their Thousand Mile Eye and Wind Following Ear powers after leaving, and their effectiveness will be greatly reduced. The so-called agreement of the two ghost envoys is actually the agreement of Xuanyuan. In the Fengshan Liangjie, these two people once helped Shang fight against Shiqi. Su Zhu secretly said, "Is that also Xuanyuan's tacit approval?" After pondering for a moment, Su Zhu came to Xuanyuan temple and bowed to the statue of Xuanyuan. He spoke, "Little immortal Su Zhu, thank you for giving me a treasure. Today, I would like to extradite the peach spirit and willow monster as a reward. I hope your majesty agrees." The so-called treasure is naturally the cowhide from before. Unfortunately, there was no response from this statue of merit. The emperor paid no attention to Su Zhu. Su Zhu was not surprised by this. After all, he was a quasi-saint and he was just a small mysterious immortal. Just as he sighed in his heart, the statue of Xuanyuan suddenly emitted a brilliant golden light. And the clay sculpture ghost statue in front of him also lit up, flying out two mysterious lights, each entering the body of the peach spirit willow monster. Later, Su Zhu unexpectedly discovered that the appearance of the two had changed. The previous two were like ghosts, but now they look like normal humans. "Thank you very much, Your Majesty, for completing it." Su Zhu quickly thanked. Chapter 6. Peach Assembly, Saints Lecture. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Huiyin Cave, this place has its own realm, shrouded in the mist of earthly immortals and lush with spiritual energy. Many skilled human beings will come here after leaving the human race. At this moment, in a seminary where this world center is located, Emperor Fuxi and Emperor Xuanyuan are playing chess there. Is there anything in the human world that has caught my attention? Emperor Fuxi looked at Xuanyuan, who was lost in thought, and said with some confusion, "It's a little guy. This guy took a piece of cowhide from me in the Xuanyuan tomb and now wants to introduce the peach spirit willow monster to the heavenly court as a reward." Xuanyuan showed a hint of interest. He had long been aware of the nine-tailed fox and others staying at the Xuanyuan tomb. However, now he has become a quasi-saint of Gaia heaven and earth, and in his eyes, Hu Xianer and others are like ants, so he has not paid attention. As for the so-called meritorious cowhide, he didn't take it to heart either. He was just surprised that Su Zhu would recommend peach spirit willow tree to serve as an official in the heavenly court as a reward. The attitude of lying when he opened his eyes aroused his interest and helped Su Zhu succeed. If Su Zhuzheng spoke carefully, he would not respond. Surprisingly, Su Zhu has made third brother interested. I should take a good look. After Fu Shi gave birth to a son, a mysterious light bloomed on his body and a mysterious meaning flowed through his fingertips. Su Zhu's actions in the human world were counted one by one. This little guy has the courage to give up his superior innate spiritual roots and feet, and shed his form. I don't know if he can enter the realm of Dalai in the future. Originally, Su Zhu only needed to focus on cultivation and transform himself completely. Later, with its superior innate spiritual roots and feet, it was almost guaranteed to enter the Dalai Lama. But Su Zhu chose to give up. Such actions are difficult for non-bold individuals to achieve. He seems to be following the path of rhythm. Xuanyuan smiled and spoke up. Fu Shi and Nyue also studied the way of music and rhythm. Fu Shi's companion spiritual treasure is even the Fu Shi Qin. Unfortunately, compared to the way of music, he is more interested in the way of easy reasoning. And the Fu Shi Qin was also lost after the battle of the Lich Demons. Later, he used the Fu Shi Qin as a blueprint and created the merit spiritual treasure Fu Shi Qin. Attempting to introduce the former to the latter, but unfortunately never gaining anything. Later, Empress Nyue brought him the river map and Luo book, and he devoted himself to studying the ways of Yili. The way of rhythm is not that easy. Fu Shi shook his head. Qipon Mountain. Su Zhu was also surprised to see the two people changing. He didn't expect Xuanyuan to not only agree, but also give the two people a beauty treatment. Now Your Majesty Xuanyuan has agreed. You two should go to the heavenly court to guard the south heavenly gate and monitor the world for the heavenly court. Su Zhu walked out of Xuanyuan temple and spoke lightly. Subsequently, he emitted a mysterious light from the primordial spirit and transmitted the information here to Haotian. After a while, the primordial god Xuanyuan flew to the sun star. At this moment, on the sun star, Haotian has already created 10 golden crows using the bones of that golden crow, and has also created a golden crow formation for them. Next, as long as they are carefully cultivated and given sufficient resources to grow, they may reach the level of Tai in the future. The top 10 Tai experts, combined with the Jinwu formation, can even fight a big Luo. Suddenly, a trace of the primordial spirit's mysterious light flew by, and he reached out and grabbed it into his hand. Unexpectedly, my wise brother even recruited manpower for me. Haotian couldn't help but be overjoyed. He took out his Haotian mirror, threw his divine power down, and brought the peach spirit Willow monster to the heavenly court. Alright, let's head east all the way to the East China Sea. Su Zhu ultimately chose a destination. There are many treasures in the Dragon Palace, perhaps suitable materials can be found in the Dragon Palace. Upon hearing this, Xuanyuan turned her head and headed east. I didn't expect to have a peach blossom party. Su Zhu's face showed a hint of surprise. Just now, when the peach spirit Willow monster left, he also received a message that the heavenly court would hold its first peach festival in 20 years. However, he is not very interested in the peach festival, and due to his relationship with Haotian, it is not difficult for him to eat peaches. Su Zhu and others headed eastward along the way. So the image of Lucian changed once again, from being single to being a 9-tailed fox with 2 maids on either side. Along the way, Yuqing also followed Su Zhu's instructions and passed on the pipa, a musical instrument, to the human race. In the future, as the pipa spreads, the jade chime will continuously gain energy in energy. And her strength, which had already reached the peak of the earth immortal realm, also entered the heavenly immortal realm without any surprise or danger during this period. 15 years later, Su Zhu and others finally arrived in the East China Sea. I didn't expect the heavenly sage to preach again. Now that the Golden Ao Island cave has opened, if you have the privilege to enter it, you can listen to the Saints' Road. If I could listen to the holy sound this time, I would surely be able to enter the realm of the Golden Immortal. Ao Island is a sage dojo. Not in this time and space, but when the sage preaches, that time and space will open, and those who are destined to enter it will be able to listen to the holy music. I'm afraid there won't be many people at Haotian's Peach Blossom Festival this time. On one side, there are saints preaching, and on the other side, there is the Peach Festival. Anyone who has the opportunity will choose the former, right? However, Su Zhu was not very interested in preaching to the heavens. Now that the Xia dynasty was nearing its end, the Yin Shang dynasty was about to make its debut, and the end of the Shang dynasty was the great apocalypse of deity, and the ship of Zhejiao was about to sink. Chapter 7. Fangzhang Island. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Arriving in the East China Sea, Xuanyuan's transportation was no longer useful. Su Zhu decided to bring the 3 of them into Xuantianzhu. Then he drove the clouds towards the direction of Donghai Dragon Palace. As for Jinao Island, Su Zhu naturally won't go, and he doesn't want to be related to Zhejiao. If Fengshen Liangjie intervenes, it seems that he can also gain merit. A thought flashed through Su Zhu's heart. Fengshen Liangjie is the act of dividing the gods and improving the order of heaven and earth. Therefore, intervening in it can also earn merit, of course, provided that you can live until the end of the calamity. This is why even Taoist Luya has to run away. Luya is the son of the demon race Emperor Jun, with endless karma. These karmas require merit to resolve. Even the lamp runner is like this. In ancient times, the burning lamp Taoist struck the autumn wind too much and possessed a lot of karma, but he never achieved the rank of quasi-saint. Now that his foundation has been established, He only needs to dissolve his own karma and can soar to the level of quasi-saint. In the future, if one's strength allows, one can still pursue merit, but if one wants to pursue merit, they must also go to the side of elucidating the teachings. If one doesn't cut off the teachings, it will be gone. It's just a pity that Empress Sanxiao has done so. Su Zhu couldn't help but feel a trace of regret in his heart. Truly teach 10,000 immortals to come to the court, with mud and sand falling. Among the disciples of Jiejiao, there are ferocious and even cannibalistic demons, there are also upright and kind-hearted experts. The upper limit is higher than elucidation, and the lower limit is lower than elucidation. Among them, what Su Zhu admires the most is San Shao. Thinking of the ending of San Shao, Su Zhu also feels a little sad. Suddenly, the scene in front of Su Zhu changed, and a mysterious force suddenly pulled Su Zhu away from the sea. He seemed to disappear out of thin air. When heaven and earth transformed and reappeared, a mist of immortality shrouded before my eyes. A huge island appeared in front of Su Zhu. Surrounding the island, there are countless innate laws and divine chains intertwined. This is the innate formation, and I have found such a blessed place. Is this the Abbot Island? Su Zhu's eyes sparkled with light. Sanxian Island is Penglai, Yingzhou, and the Abbot. The first one to emerge was Yingzhou Immortal Island, which fell into the hands of the Eastern Prince. The Eastern Prince used this as the foundation to establish the Immortal Court, but unfortunately, the Immortal Court was destroyed in a great battle with the Demon Clan Heavenly Court. The other one is Penglai Island, which was discovered by the Intercept Church. Afterwards, with supreme power, Tongtian shattered Penglai Island into numerous island groups, allowing it to arch onto Zhunei Island and become a disciples' dojo. And the only thing in front of me is probably the Abbot Island. This Abbot Island is not in the same time and space as the East China Sea. I should have been swept in by the power of the formation operation. Su Zhu quickly came over. Entangled by the power of the formation to the Abbot Island. Su Zhu felt like stepping on dog poop for a moment. Wait a minute, when I came to this world, I was blessed by the great Tao. Apart from my innate understanding, I also had an excellent fortune. Su Zhu suddenly remembered the situation in this world. Subsequently, Su Zhu looked up at the formation in front of him. It is impossible for him to break through the formation with his Xianxian cultivation. However, most innate formations have a slight flaw. If you encounter someone who is destined, the things guarded by the formation will lead you to that flaw and directly obtain them. Therefore, as long as Su Zhu finds that loophole, he can enter it. He took out the immortal flute and started playing. Each note flew out of the immortal flute and collided with the main formation, with dense divine chains constantly circulating. These all entered Su Zhu's mind one by one, and were constantly summarized and integrated by Su Zhu. Years later, he finally saw the clues. This formation is actually powerful, containing the transformation principle of chaotic yin-yang and 5 elements. Su Zhu widened his eyes. Originally, this Abbot Island is a chaotic divine stone, containing chaotic spiritual energy. Later on, through continuous evolution, a unique formation was formed, which transformed chaotic spiritual energy into yin and yang, and further decomposed them into the 5 elements of qi. That is to say, this formation actually contains the principle of transformation from chaos to yin and yang, and then to the 5 elements. Su Zhu was greatly surprised. If he took out this formation, he was afraid that even the Supreme Sage would be shocked and lose his chin. The path practiced by the Supreme Sage is actually the path of Yin and Yang. The combination of Yin and Yang is chaos, but the Supreme Sage cannot achieve this and can only comprehend the Tao of Tai Chi to harmonize Yin and Yang. There are 2 main flaws in this formation, one is the chaos of the gap between Yin and Yang, and the other is the gap between Yin and Yang and the 5 elements. Perhaps my biggest gain is not something else, but this formation. Su Zhu's eyes sparkled with light. Chaotic transformation of Yin and Yang, where Yin and Yang evolve into the 5 elements, is easy to describe, but the transformation between them is extremely mysterious. If it were someone else, even Xianxia and Yingzhou would find it difficult to obtain. Only above the realm of Tai can one discern the principles of the transformation of the 5 elements. After all, the Tai Golden Immortal requires the 5 Qi Xuanyuan, but it is only secondary. The principle of chaotic transformation of Yin, Yang, and 5 elements obtained by Su Zhu's observation of the formation is that the quasi-holy capital is far from catching up. It's just that his cultivation is too low to fully utilize it for the time being. But there is no doubt that what he has gained today will become a great treasure for his future cultivation path. Seeking flowers, collecting, evaluating tickets. Chapter 8. 12 Grade Lotus Terrace. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After observing the formation again, Su Zhu seized the gap between Yin and Yang and the 5 elements, and flew into the island. As soon as you enter, a strong innate spiritual energy rushes towards you. The surging innate spiritual energy was even mixed with a hint of chaotic spiritual energy, making Su Zhu feel suffocated. The rich spiritual energy even made it difficult for him to fly, so he had to stop and walk. Unfortunately, my cultivation level is too low, otherwise this would be a rare place for cultivation. Su Zhu walked towards the center of the island with great strides. Within the island, the auspicious atmosphere is steaming and lingering around the world, with various innate elixirs everywhere and the innate spirit lake everywhere. Soon, Su Zhu arrived at a pool of spring water. Above the spring, the 3 lights of the sun, moon, and stars flow. Sanguang Shen Shui. Su Zhu looked shocked. Immediately after, Su Zhu's gaze fell on the white lotus on the spring water. The lotus flower bloomed in its 12th grade, and its innate spiritual charm flowed as if it could purify everything in the world. 12th grade pure world white lotus. Su Zhu's breathing became rapid. These 12 grades of white lotus are not only spiritual roots but also spiritual treasures, and their grades are among the top in the top. Grade innate spiritual treasures. They can also be used to cultivate white lotus seeds. With the help of white lotus seeds, some low-grade white lotus can even be cultivated. 3 light divine water and 12 grade pure world white lotus. And the soil below is actually the 9 heavens rest soil. Su Zhu was once again shocked. 9 days of seclusion, the sage Nyuwa had also obtained some, but she had already used it to build the first batch of human race, to build the white snake and Ting snake. Besides, Su Zhu really didn't know who had 9 days of rest in the wilderness. Upon seeing this, Su Zhu did not hesitate and collected the 12 grade pure world white lotus, as well as the 3 radiance divine water and 9 heavenly realm, all of which were included in the Shantian pearl. Next, I will first achieve the title of Golden Immortal, here. With a thought, Su Zhu sat cross-legged. Over the years, his cultivation has reached the peak of the Xianxian realm. After arriving here, the bottleneck of Jin Xian had already loosened, so he decided to first achieve Jin Xian. Heaven, the first peach festival has opened. Anyway, Haotian is a nominal supreme figure in the 3 realms, and there have naturally been many people since then. People from Wuzhuang Guanjin Yuanzi, Central Huangjiao Daxian, Eastern Chong'en Xingdi, and even the sage sect have sent people to come. But Haotian couldn't be happy. Why did he hold the peach festival? It's not about inviting these powerful beings to eat, drink, but attracting other immortals to join the heavenly court. And these big shots are obviously impossible to join the heavenly court. However, it is not without gains. The biggest gain is the Tai by Venus, which is transformed by the spirit of the golden star. Its strength has reached the peak of Tai Yi, and it is only 1 step away from Deluo. In order to win over Tai by Jin Xing, Haotian immediately expressed his intention to fully assist his Deluo Jin Xian. In addition, I also found a rolling shutter general. This rolling shutter general is loyal and kind, and Haotian is also prepared to cultivate him well. As for other low-level immortals, Haotian can only include him in the list of heavenly soldiers and generals. The most eager one is the Four Seas Dragon Palace. Haotian has incorporated the West Sea, South China Sea, and North Sea, and has appointed them as the god of cloud and rain. But there was a problem here in Donghai. When the daughter of Emperor Yan traveled to Donghai, she had a dispute with Crown Prince Yao Ji of Donghai Dragon. Then the Crown Prince Dragon cast a spell and stirred up waves, causing Nyuwa to drown. The girl was furious, and because she was the daughter of the emperor, she was extremely extraordinary. Her divine soul, relying on an indomitable obsession, transformed into a Jingwei bird and made a heavenly vow to fill the East China Sea and turn it into a mulberry field. So the Donghai Dragon clan and the human clan formed a bond. Even if Ao Jia died later, the 5 heavenly emperors who took charge of the heavenly court tacitly ignored the East China Sea lineage. Haotian naturally didn't want to offend Huiyun Cave because of the Donghai Dragon Palace incident. So, Haotian adopted a cold treatment attitude towards the East Sea Dragon King. Your Majesty, it is obvious that the Holy One of the Truthful Teachings is targeting us again this time. He will not preach long ago or late, but he will preach when our Peach Festival is about to begin. It is better for us to tell the Lord and let him make decisions for us. Yao Ji spoke with some resentment. Nowadays, she is quite dissatisfied with Jijiao. Yao Ji, be cautious. The leader of the Tongtian sect is always a saint, and his disciples immortals are coming to court with great momentum. Nowadays, in the midst of the chaos, even if a great power encounters a sect cutoff, it has to temporarily avoid the forefront. Haotian shook his head. Although there are not many disciples personally passed down by the sage, there are many disciples from both inner and outer sects, and even a large number of peripheral disciples. If these people can't go through the wilderness, that's all. But unfortunately, he is still very active. This has already disrupted the balance of major forces in the chaos, and Jiejiao has become the dominant family. By the way, what about your brother? He wouldn't have gone to Zhunei Island to listen, would he? Yao Ji is a secluded and authentic place. I haven't been able to perceive his existence lately, he seems to have disappeared halfway. Haotian shook his head, and a worried expression flashed in his eyes. If Su Zhu had gone to Zhunei Island, he could have roughly sensed it, but Su Zhu seemed to have disappeared out of thin air. Chapter 9. The Realm of Golden Immortals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Beside the Lingqi Pond. Su Zhu's momentum spread throughout his body. This scene, which should have caused quite a stir outside, is somewhat downplayed in this world. But at this moment, he has truly reached the realm of the Golden Immortal. In its primordial spirit, there are 2 laws suspended, one is the law of melody, and the other is the law of wood. Both laws emit immortal divine radiance, nourishing his physical body in divine soul. Xiandao has 3 critical periods. Tian Xian, Jin Xian, and the Luo. These 3 realms all require crossing tribulations. The realm of immortality is the threshold of the immortal path. Upon entering this realm, one can attain immortality, and the number of thunder tribulations is at most 39. And entering the Golden Immortal, the heaven and earth will have the same longevity, theoretically it can live forever, and the number of thunder tribulations is at most 69. The realm of Daoyuo transcends the long river of time, and the number of thunder tribulations is at most 99. However, perhaps due to the isolation of Su Zhu's space from the outside world, he did not feel the aura of heavenly calamity. After consolidating his cultivation, Su Zhu continued to head towards the depths of the island. The 12-rank White Lotus is not the core of the island. Is there still a powerful treasure in the core of the island? Su Zhu's face showed anticipation as he continued to move forward. The more he moved forward, the stronger his spiritual energy became. Later on, it was almost all chaotic spiritual energy. With Su Zhujin's cultivation level, he is unable to move forward. Suddenly, a huge bead appeared in the spiritual mist. Pearl, dark yellow in color, like a ball of light. The chaotic spiritual energy dimmed all around it. Immediately after, the divine pearl swayed. A wave of air rushed towards Su Zhu. The scene before Su Zhu changed and he returned to the sea. This. Su Zhu looked around and realized that this was no longer the sea area he had entered. The Abbot Island is mobile and its direction is uncertain. Moreover, is that pearl a chaos pearl? Perhaps I can only obtain this pearl when I reach the day of cultivating the Chaos Avenue. Su Zhu shook his head and let go of the chaotic thoughts. He had some doubts whether it was actually the Abbot Island. At this moment, the sky was shrouded in clouds of calamity. The golden immortal, belonging to Su Zhu, has arrived. With a movement of his body, Su Zhu arrived at an island. He condensed two rules, and natural calamity cannot be weak. Thick clouds of calamity enveloped thousands of miles around. A renowned monk turned his gaze to this place. However, due to the reason of preaching to the heavens, all the powerful cultivators from the East Sea were led to the Bio Palace to listen to the teachings. What a powerful Jian, this is probably the 69 golden immortal robbery. 6 or 9 golden immortal tribulations, another genius. I have seen the 6 or 9 heavenly calamities of the immortal crossing of the Jiejiao sect, before, but the clouds of the calamity are not as rich as this. Many cultivators who were not far from here rushed over. A golden immortal who has crossed the 6 or 9 heavenly tribulations is enough to make them friends. Of course, if Su Zhu dies, they don't mind snatching Su Zhu's inheritance. Boom! Thunder shone brightly, and a thick thunderbolt struck down. Su Zhu sat cross-legged, letting the thunder fall on him. In the moment the thunder fell on Su Zhu, he used the magic technique to introduce the power of the thunder into his body and refine his physique. And those monks who watched were completely dumbfounded. Why is his physical body so powerful? Other cultivators' tribulations were all prepared, using various magic treasures and pills. It's unbelievable that he absorbed the power of thunder to refine his body. I believe he is a powerful cultivator who follows the path of becoming a saint in the flesh. The crowd continued to discuss. In fact, Su Zhu doesn't specialize in cultivating physical power, but he is the best essence of innate spiritual roots, and the physical body is much better than the friars of the same level. In addition, he condensed 2 golden immortal rules, making his physical body even stronger than ordinary cultivators. Moreover, one of his condensed works is the Law of Wood, which has extremely strong restorative power. Then, if Su Zhu is really injured, he can also take some 3 light divine water to recover. This is the reason why Su Zhu is fearless, he even disdains to use magic weapons. Boom! After the 54th heavenly calamity fell, the cloud of calamity was unwilling to disperse. After trying again and again, it has come to understand that it can't do anything for Su Zhu. To deal with Su Zhu, the only way is to go back and invite his elder brother, Luo Tianjie. But when its elder brother can come out to deal with Su Zhu, I'm afraid it won't be Su Zhu's opponent anymore. Such strong strength has made some unscrupulous individuals put aside their caution. Generally speaking, after crossing the tribulation, cultivators will fall into weakness. Take advantage of your illness and take your life. The scattered cultivators who were killed due to weakness after the robbery are unknown, but Su Zhu is clearly not among them. Upon seeing Su Zhu finish his robbery, they all stepped forward, wanting to make friends. I have seen the immortal before. Congratulations on becoming one of the golden immortals. Congratulations on becoming an immortal. Su Zhu's gaze swept lightly, showing no interest in befriending the person in front of him. He nodded faintly and then disappeared into a stream of light. Seeing Su Zhu's strength, they naturally dared not catch up and talk. Seeking flowers, seeking evaluation votes, seeking various forms of support. Chapter 10. Mysterious Wood Blocks. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. A huge underwater architectural complex caught Su Zhu's eye, with shrimp soldiers and crab generals constantly patrolling within the complex. This is the Donghai Dragon Palace, the leader of the Four Seas Dragon Palace. Report your identity. Provide a comprehensive report. Donghai Dragon King Aoguang immediately welcomed the Dragon Son, Dragon Daughter, Dragon Grandson, Shrimp Soldier, and Crab General. Zhenjuan, Xiaolong is polite. As soon as they met, Aoguang bowed to Su Zhu and called himself Little Dragon. Although Aoguang's strength did not reach the realm of Daoyuo as some later novels claimed, he also entered the ranks of Tai. This humility is obviously due to Su Zhu's identity. Su Zhu nodded and casually uttered a word. Subsequently, the Dragon King of Donghai invited Su Zhu into the Crystal Palace. Zhenjuan, I wonder why you came to our Donghai Dragon Palace today. The East Sea Dragon King said humbly. He already knows the relationship between Su Zhu and Haotian. At this Peach Blossom Festival, the other three seas were successfully appointed as the god of rain, but he was politely rejected by Haotian due to his involvement with the girl in the East Sea. And he naturally wouldn't choose to give up. Now that the Dragon Clan is showing weakness, everything he does needs to be named and speak with righteousness. Only by obtaining the position of Minister of Rain from Haotian, the Lord of the Three Realms, can we be secure. And when Su Zhu came here, he planned to start from Su Zhu. Aoguang clapped his hands. Immediately, a fish beauty came up with melon and fruit spirit wine. There are also fairy clams dancing gracefully in the main hall. At the banquet, Su Zhu also saw Ao Tingxin. Today, she is dressed in a golden long dress, wearing a pearl-shaped hair accessory on her head, paired with a delicate and beautiful appearance, and is a goddess. Half full of wine, half full of food. Zhenjuan, come to my dragon palace today. Do you have any instructions? Aoguang inquired about Su Zhu's intentions. I am the god of music, and I want to make a drum. I have heard of the many treasures in the Dragon Palace, and I happened to pass by here, so I came to take a look. Su Zhu's voice rang out. That's easy to say. Later, I'll have Tingxin take Zhenjuan to the Dragon Palace treasure trove. When the Immortal sees something suitable, just take it. Aoguang spoke generously. The treasure trove of the Dragon Palace actually doesn't have any good things. The truly good things have long been collected by him and placed separately. After the banquet, Ao Tingxin led Su Zhu towards the treasure trove of the Dragon Palace. As soon as he entered, a brilliant gem shone over the entire stone chamber. Su Zhu did not search for it, but instead utilized the achievements of the Qin Emperor Mu Huang. The greenwood aura spread and swept towards the shelf filled with treasures. Subsequently, many wooden divine materials and treasures fell in front of Su Zhu. Later, Su Zhu waved his hand, leaving only three things behind. It was also a piece of dragon blood wood, and Su Zhu noticed an indomitable fighting spirit on it. Holding the dragon blood wood in his hand, Su Zhu's mind conjured up a scene of the real dragon fighting against the twin phoenixes, the real dragon shedding blood, and the war spirit condensed in the divine wood scene. Not bad, this item happens to be the material for me to make war drums. Su Zhu nodded, very satisfied. Immediately after, Su Zhu set his gaze on the other two objects. One thing is a wooden bed. The other object was a dark wooden block, and Su Zhu Qin Emperor Mu Huanggong felt that it contained some vitality inside, and its wooden aura was very extraordinary. So Su Zhu brought it over. Just as Su Zhu was looking at the wooden block, Ao Tingxin's fingers twitched, and the originally small wooden bed turned into a normal bed size, with pink curtains lingering around and adorned with pearls and other decorations, making people fantasize. And Ao Tingxin sat on the couch, gazing affectionately at Su Zhu. Fourth princess, who are you? Ao Tingxin's action made Su Zhu dumbfounded. The unparalleled charm of true lord attracts listening heart. Listening heart wants to serve true lord, as long as she can become a woman of true lord, she is willing to be a slave or a maid. As Ao listened to Xian's words, his pretty face was covered in a blush, and his jade hand reached out to untie his belt. To be honest. Su Zhu's eyebrows furrowed slightly. He and Ao Tingxin just met today. If there is a favorable impression, Su Zhu may believe it. After all, he is so excellent that it is not impossible for the dragon girl to fall in love at first sight. But if he reaches the point of undressing, Su Zhu does not believe it. Upon hearing this, Ao Tingxin started talking about the whole story. Seeing Su Zhu's solemn appearance, Ao Tingxin's heart immediately trembled and he explained the whole story. Originally, the matter of the Donghai Dragon King Siyu's priesthood was ruined due to the matter of the daughter. In fact, with Shen Nong's broad-mindedness, it is highly likely that he will not target the Dragon Clan and the Heavenly Court due to past events. Targeting the Donghai Dragon Clan has long been targeted. Haotian is not willing to take such a risk, even if it's only a trace. So, when the Dragon King of the East Sea saw Su Zhu's arrival, he prepared to sneak around and let Ao Tingxin dedicate himself, befriend Su Zhu, and thus obtain Su Zhu's help. You don't need to do that. Su Zhu shook his head and said, I have already obtained what I want in the Dragon Palace. If there is anything I can do, I will help you.